AfriChild stands for three major issues. One is to generate evidence through research, but evidence that should inform policy and ultimately impact on the African child.
The child-focused research training was an answer to a call within the country because there was a dearth of researchers, child-focused researchers in the country. And AfriChild Center, as a center of excellence in child-focused research, saw the idea of building local capacity to be able to undertake this research.
Child-focused research it's a research that is conducted with children, involving children. So they are recognized as participants and they are recognized as generating the evidence that is being required themselves.
Child-focused research comes in a way that you try to listen to the child whom we have never listened to. You know, in Africa, children don't speak, we speak for them. And so that is difficult if you want to do something for them.
The inter-university child-focused research methods training has given us, the mentors, the trainers, as well as the participants, a very unique opportunity. Not that because we do not know how to conduct research, but first, the training program gave us an opportunity to focus on a very special part of our population, that is the children.
We have been conducting social research, but we are using the usual methods of research, and we are not specifically focusing on child research.
This has been a collaborative process right from the start with the different universities. We wrote officially to the vice chancellors of each of the 7 participating universities. We gave them the criteria of the ideal candidates that we are looking out for, and we asked them to nominate a multidisciplinary team from their universities.
When I came for the training, my interest was to see what is the theoretical framework behind child-focused research. And I really wanted to see how that lays a framework. And in our introductory classes, it was very interesting to see the theories underneath research, but child-focused research in particular.
I studied a course in children, youth and development, and I had conducted a study on children, and that was on children living with mothers in prison. So I kept on showing interest, and I think it became obvious to the principal that probably I would be one of those. And he asked me whether I was interested, and obviously I said yes, I wanted to be part of the team that goes.
I am a researcher. I have done a lot of research and a training in research. And when this opportunity came, my university trusted me. And I thought by studying more the methods of doing research after children would equip me more as I'm a trainer.
This was unique because the training was spread out over 2 years. It was a training where we had enough time, okay? Most of the trainings that we do, it's either 1 week, 2 weeks, or 1 month. But if you spread it out over 2 years, it gives you the opportunities to have an incremental strategy so that everything that you do during the first level training, you increase on it during the next level, and so on and so forth.
The inter-university trainees, now I can call them experts in child-focused research. Because when we first recruited them, there was a lot of skepticism. What is AfriChild going to offer? What is new? But when we went through with them, what does child-focused research mean? What does it mean to conduct research on children, with children, and by children? The whole concept of child-focusedness, was now well understood by our trainees.
Whereas these were all lecturers, and all of them had masters, and most of them had PhDs, we still found a level of heterogeneity. They were not exactly the same in their level of understanding of some of the concepts. especially when it came to research methods and also data analysis. So it was a challenge to try and find a level where we could get those who knew more, understand and still maintain their interests, and those who didn't know a lot, be able to bring them up to the same level.
There are a number of things that I used to take for granted, and perhaps there's a number of things that we used to do wrong, because at the university there is the tendency of us knowing it all, and yet you might know it all and know it wrongly. So what we learned during the 3 phases of training with AfriChild is actually to know it right, so that you can impact the correct knowledge across the board.
Very few of us are conversant with the research with the children. So we had to start all afresh and see how we can help children be involved in the research that we do. Because all along we have been thinking that it is only the top academics who do research and who must be involved in data collection and so forth, interpretation of data. Now we have found that the children are also a part of that.
Initially, I did research on children when I was doing my PhD that was concerned with their survival analysis, children's survival. But when I went through this training, my eyes opened to the vast array of areas that can be focused on with children or on children, and that are very urgent.
Apart from the reminding us of the research techniques, what was very unique in that training was highlighting the child participation activities. The methods that we found very useful and have adopted. How do you capture the children's voices? Using as many innovations as you can think about. In fact, we found that very useful because for us, the body map was very revealing, using the body map.
We know very well that someone has to go through training before they can engage with children. We now are aware that getting information from children is a little bit different from when you would get from the adults.
The shift that I notice right now is that I'm more conscious on the entire process of doing research with children. So for me, that's very important.
This one helped me to learn that as I do research with about children, I can do it with them because they have a straight tale about their affairs and they know much about themselves. So when you do it with them, it helps you to get much more than just doing it for them.
We wanted to do something different in this training, research training program. We said on top of the classroom teaching and practicums, we wanted them to go to the real field experience. So we're able to award seed grants to all the 7 universities.
We went to Luka and it was quite a very refreshing experience, right from the pilot to the actual study in the schools. So in total we went to about 3 schools because we used 1 school for the pilot and then we used 2 other schools for the actual study. So right from the proposal level, we were thinking about what kind of children we are going to see.
In the field, what we did was to create an environment that would allow them to talk very freely. First of all, we did not change the setting. Our interview was in a school where the pupils are studying. And in that setup, it was easy for them. First of all, we used their facilities. And because they were using their own facilities and even sitting on their desk, that made us fit so easily and discuss with them so freely.
Getting to start talking to children and bringing them into that mood was, for the first few days, wasn't very easy. But as time went on, okay, we started reflecting on how the trainers took us through how doing ice breaking and all that. So the challenges were all waived.
There was also a gap in research collaboration amongst Ugandan universities. The tendency is normally to have the North-South collaboration, that is Ugandan universities collaborating with universities in the US, in the different European countries, or other African countries, but rarely were they collaborating. So that was another gap that this program intends to address, is collaboration among Ugandan peers.
This project, up to this point, we can say has been a very successful one, because we have had several research method training workshops, and all of them have been well attended with very active participation from colleagues. And having seen that this project has succeeded this far, my recommendation to AfriChild would be to scale up this project. So far, only 7 universities are participating, and Uganda has over 50 universities. So if there was resources or there would be opportunity for funding, I would recommend that more universities be brought onto the program so that as many colleagues as possible can get this unique opportunity to train in child-focused research methods.
I think that AfriChild has done a tremendous job bringing us together, and I think that they've got to find strategies of keeping this collaboration and partnership rolling, because we think that it is an amazing way of getting scholars to work together in teams, but also to explore more and put the child, especially the African child, at the center. So if AfriChild can take more time and look us up and together with us partner on dissemination, because many of our research work may lie on shelves, and it will be very exciting if we can have different opportunities to share our findings and also disseminate them.
The fact that we are doing this with academic institutions implies that the scientific rigor that we want to have in country to undertake child-focused research is actually being realized. We now have a team of over 30 researchers that we can confidently work with to produce credible research that will inform the work that we're doing around children.
I reach out to encourage the 7 participating universities to support our first cohort of child-focused researchers that we've passed out today, to support them with the necessary resources, especially time and funding, to allow them to practice the skills and the knowledge that they've acquired through this training program. And my appeal also is to the first cohort to serve as champions of child-focused research by upholding the ethical values that we've inculcated in them over this training duration.